and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be mending a rip or a tear in a cotton dress shirt. But first, I just wanted to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel to keep up with me and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I publish new stuff. Also, if you want to show your support, thumbs up the video. It's free and it really does help the channel grow. If you want to see even more of me, follow me on Instagram where I post pictures of my dog, plants, and life stuff. You can also find me on Facebook by searching Last Minute Laura. And for those of you who want to go the extra mile, I do live stream Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. Eastern Time until around 9:30. Okay, now let's get into the video. This is one of Alex's dress shirts. I don't know how this tear happened. It's a very bizarre location. There's no weakness in the fabric, and it's almost a straight line. It's really a perfect candidate for like a seamless hidden repair, but that's not what I want to do. I like doing, kind of funky repairs like this. So this is a different one that I actually cut the hole bigger, I added a patch, and then I did some embroidery stitches around just to, patch the hole in a cute way. And I want to do that again. So even though this could be hidden pretty easily, I'm going to instead draw a little bit of attention to it and make it a fun little mending embroidery project. So if you're new here, I'll let you know you've got time to go make a tea and get a snack, because this is going to be a bit of a long one. Because I'm a talker, I've got my peppermint tea and some cookies here with me. So to get started on this style of mending, you're going to need an embroidery hoop. That's just going to keep the fabric really nice and taut and tense so that while you're stitching you don't end up with ripples or bubbles. You're going to need some scissors for cutting your fabric and for cutting your thread. You're going to need some embroidery floss. I'm using probably just one color. I haven't actually decided what color yet. You'll also need some sewing needles. I've got a couple of different sizes that I'm going to be using. I've got some larger embroidery needles, and I've got some skinnier ones that are great for more seamless repairs. Also, you're going to need something to patch your hole with. Assuming yours is a slightly bigger hole than mine, you'll want like a little fabric patch. I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe this pink would be nice, because on the other side it's blue and the shirt's kind of purple. So I feel like this one is what I'm going to go with. I did grab a couple other samples just to see if there was anything else that spoke to me. I like this one, but it's a little thick. So I'm just going to put these ones aside, and I'm going to get my setup a little bit more how I want it. And to do that, I'm going to start with the shirt. So I'm going to put the embroidery hoop. I'm going to take the embroidery hoop apart. If you don't have an embroidery hoop, you're not at the end of the world. It's okay. You don't need an embroidery hoop. It's just going to make the project finish a little bit neater. I folded the shirt up just to keep it out of the way. All right, so there is our hole. And I put the embroidery hoop piece with no metal underneath. And then the piece that has the metal, I'll just put that one on top and pull it nice and tight. Then I'm just going to go around and pull the edges tight and pull where I need to in order to get the hole kind of lined up with the stitches. So it's still pulling, oh, there we go. That's what I needed. Pulling a little bit, line it up as best you can in order to make your stitches come out nice and straight. So you can see there's a little bit of warping there, and that's all right. We're going to patch it, so it's no big deal. Next, we're going to draw a shape. I think I'm going to do probably a square, just because the fabric has that clean line in it already. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to see how big my patch is here. Okay, so I'll take it just to the edge of the purple and I'll come down a little bit. I just want to get completely away from the area that tore. Don't worry, when I'm doing my stitch part, I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. But for this part, it doesn't really matter. It's just cutting the hole bigger. You don't even have to do this part, honestly. I just like for the peekaboo window of fabric to show. If you don't want it to show, then you would just reinforce it without adding to the damage of the shirt. The other fun thing is that since the patch is not with the same fabric that the shirt is made out of, it makes it like a one-of-a-kind, unique shirt, which I think is fun. I'm kind of an eclectic person, so for me, a unique shirt is a great thing. Okay, so there's my hole. I've made it much bigger now. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my piece that's going to go behind the hole, get it to a good size, and then I'm going to flip this whole shebang inside out. And that is going to be so that we can attach. Actually, no, we're going to leave it the right way. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of how I want it to sit in the end. Because I don't have any pins. I really need to pick up pins. I do have probably hundreds of pins. I just don't know where they are. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because I don't have any pins right now, so I'm going to put my little patch underneath. I'm going to flatten it as best I can. I'm going to use a couple of my sewing needles to just sort of pin the four sides at least together so that I can follow some kind of organization, or else it's going to end up puckering. I really do recommend using pins. If you don't have pins, maybe just go pick up pins and don't do this without pins. But I am, because do as I say, not as I do. And now it's going to be time to zoom you in so I can show you how we're going to address this situation. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to use this sort of dusty rose embroidery floss. This actually was floss that belonged to my grandma. It's DMC 945. That is her handwriting. So I'm going to get a little bit of this. I think I'm gonna I suppose I'll use the entire piece. Maybe I'll split it in half and do it as a 3-strand piece, just so it's not super duper 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 noticeable. I mean, I know I'm doing a pretty noticeable patch, but I still want it to look good. It's not supposed to look bad and noticeable. It's supposed to look good and noticeable. Isn't it John Waters who said there's a difference between bad good and good bad, or good bad taste and bad bad taste? So I want it to be good bad taste. Anyway, now I think I'm going to begin with blanket stitches, because actually no, I'm going to begin with a running stitch. If you don't know any embroidery stitches, that's okay. I'm going to be showing pretty detailed close-ups in this video, but if it's not enough from this video, I will link my tutorials on each and every one of the stitches that I use. Okay, so I'm going to start at the back, and I'm going to put my needle, I'm going to pull that so it's as straight as I can get. I'm going to just put the needle, I guess, in this corner back here, because I am going to make a square all the way around. So what I'm going to do is try to keep that pink fabric as flat as I can keep it. And I've come up through the pink and through the shirt with this rose. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail. If you can see, I've got the tail down here. I'm going to leave that tail right where it is because I'm going to use it in the end to like tie off my thread. So for the first way around, because I want to be able to, I don't know, adjust the bits of fabric a little bit as I go, I'm going to just do a really far apart running stitch. And a running stitch is just the stitch when you go up and down through both pieces of fabric. It's not super structurally sound, but that's not what we're doing yet. Right now I just want to kind of get the fabric bits lined up first, and from there we will do some decorative stitches to make it look pretty. And it's gonna take a little bit of wiggling around for me just because I didn't use pins, which honestly, such a dumb thing to not have pins when you're doing a sewing project, but sometimes you just can't find all your stuff, and that's where I'm at. And I was more interested in filming the video than I was being prepared for it. Okay, so that's better. I've used some sewing needles for pins there. So like I said, I'm just going to do this running stitch and then down through both pieces of fabric and then up and down. I'm just going to go all the way until I make it I'm going to go one step past where the hole ends, and that's just going to be because it's unnecessary to go any farther. And then I'm going to turn, and I'm going to go down the next side. I'm still just doing a running stitch here. This line of running stitches is also going to help on the next round of stitches, because I think I'm going to do blanket stitches for the next round. And this will give me a row to line up with. Can you hear thunder in the background? He's barking at Alex. Okay, so I made it around my first time with that running stitch, and now I'm going to go around again, but this time I'm going to do a blanket stitch, and I'm going to do it right along the inner edge here where the damaged portion meets the patch fabric. So I'm going to just come up right on the edge there. I'm going to go down on the line that we did the running stitches, and I'm going to come up right at the edge of the patch fabric and the edge of the dress shirt. And I'm going to just do blanket stitches all the way around the same way. Hey, as I do these blanket stitches around, I'm just going to pop in and remind you to thumbs up the video, hit that like button. Also, leave a comment on this video, and the comment I want you to leave is, what hand-sewn things do you want to see me work on in the future? Do you want to see more upcycled things? Maybe a bag made from old jeans? Or do you want to see brand new things like me hand-sewing a dress? Do you want to see designs with patterns for sewing, or are you just interested in seeing my make-along journey? I want to know what you're looking for when you come and watch my videos so that I can make videos that are more interesting for you to come and watch. That's the plan, right? That's the goal. So let me know in the comments down below if you have any suggestions for a hand sewing video. What is it? Because I definitely have hand sewing on my mind right now. So anything that you would like to see handmade with embroidery stitches, with hand sewing, and eventually when I get my machines back, even some machine sewing. Let me know in those comments, but also don't forget to thumbs up the video. So you can see that the blanket stitch, even though it's not perfect, it wraps around the patch and it covers that raw edge of the dress shirt, so you don't see any of that frayed edge. Alternatively, you could do this blanket stitch just around the hole to begin with before you've even running stitched the patch on behind it. You can do that and just sort of do it in order to cover the raw edge of the dress shirt. But since I'm already going to be reinforcing this patch, this hole with the patch, I figured the fraying edges of the dress shirt aren't going to make a huge difference to me. They're probably not going to make a huge difference to the integrity of the repair. So again, if you've got something similar that you're making or that you're repairing, you can use matching thread, matching fabric. You can go all out in order to make it a super subtle repair. I just don't care for that. I like for the repair to show because I think it shows the character of your clothes, and I think that it makes you appreciate it a little bit more because it was handmade. So you're less likely to replace that garment because it provides sentimental value, and you're also less likely to be bad to your clothes. You're more likely to be careful when you're washing them, or to be careful when you're putting them in the dryer. So I like to add little bits like this onto many of my handmade things and many of my not handmade things, and it has definitely given a new life to lots of different items that I have, and I think you should try it because I think it'll give new life to your stuff too. I'm just going to zoom around for the rest of this round because it's just blanket stitches over and over, and again, I will link the tutorial on how to do that so you can figure it out. But yeah, once I get to the end of this round of blanket stitches, I will show you what I'm going to do next to continue fixing this hole in Alex's dress shirt. Okay, so I just made it around with the blanket stitches. Just gonna do a little extra stitch there, and then I'm gonna poke that through at the back. And I'm going to ignore the tail for now. I'm going to grab the next piece of embroidery floss. I actually think this is going to be just a 2-piece tutorial or make-along because I'm pretty much almost done. It's almost patched. which is great. It also does look better and better as you wash it over time. So if yours is looking a little bit stiff or a little bit ripply, I want to say, once you've washed it, it tends to not be as big of a deal. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do running stitches, and I'm going to do running stitches vertically and horizontally. I just want to do that to reinforce the connection between the two pieces, the patch and the original shirt. I think I'll start one corner away. I'm going to keep that tail again, a nice long tail, and then I'm just going to go up and down. Actually, I think from here we don't need the embroidery hoop because we don't need the stiffness so much now. We've got it. We've got the basic shape embroidered in. So now what we can do is just running stitch. So that's when we just poke through the fabric down and then poke up through the fabric. Just up and down, up and down, up and down. Nothing super fancy. And I'm going to do that all the way across. And I'm not actually following the plaid at this point. I'm just going up and down, up and down. I'm just following it to keep the line straight. I'm not doing it to keep the stitches even. You can, I don't care that much for this because you're not going to be able to tell if they're super duper straight or just a little straight. And there we go. Made it to the top corner, and now I'm going to do one across by one line, and then I'm going to come down and do running stitches again. I'm going to do this sort of zigzag of running stitches up and down until I'm all the way at the other end of the mending patch. So I'll zoom you in for just so you can see exactly how I'm doing it. And after I show you that, I'm going to zoom through the rest, I think, because this is just super easy running stitches. All right, so I made it to the top again. I'm going to move over by one stitch, pull the floss up, and I'm going to do a running stitch, which is going down through all of the fabric, up, down, and up. And I'm going to do that all the way across. These vertical stitches are going to just support, cause a little bit of extra support for the patch itself. Really focusing on making sure those two pieces of fabric, the original piece of shirt and then the patch, kind of come together and behave like one piece of fabric. So that's what these stitches are going to help do. They're just sort of really putting those two pieces together. So I'm going to zoom through the rest of this, and I will meet you on the other side. Okay, so I finished the up and down or vertical running stitches. I'm going to do the same thing the other way now, so horizontally. This time I'm going to use a full strand of embroidery floss. For no other reason except I didn't want to split the strand. There's no functional reason why I'm doing it with a full strand. But what I am going to do is begin one way and just start with my running stitches one way. When I get to the edge of the patch, I'll turn it around and do my running stitches that way. It's very easy. And again, if you used a matching thread and you weren't doing it with embroidery floss like I am, again, I like for it to show up. That's how I am. I like to have my stuff show up personalized. Oh, I switched needles for this, thinking it would help me, but it's making it a little harder actually. Okay, yeah, I like my stuff to be personalized, but if you are trying to just hide the damage, then use matching thread. Don't use a bright patch. Use something that matches your project. But again, for me, that's not a problem. I feel like everyone should know how to do this. Patching your garments and your projects is A, really fun, B, really cool and pretty and unique, and C, really functional. So I know Alex is going to love this shirt now, and he'll be more gentle to it because it has this loving little touch added to it. And this is nothing special, just running stitches, like I said. So I'm gonna do that all the way around the project. Well, all the way up and down across the project, I guess. And once I get back to my beginning, or back to the end, not back, once I get to the end of the patch, I'm gonna secure off my yarn, my thread. Jeez Louise, what is going on with my words today? Once I finish these stitches up and down, I'll secure my thread off and I will show you what it's looking like and give you some options for what you can do after. This is also here so that you can see that it doesn't need to be perfect to be functional. I don't know if you can tell, but my hand embroidery stitches are messy. They are not at all even or equal in size. I don't even use the same number of threads directionally, but it doesn't matter. It really just doesn't matter at all. So if you want to give mending a shot, I really do recommend it. Even if it looks a little bit intimidating, it doesn't matter. It's always fun. It's like making a crocheted garment. Even if it comes out ugly and you missed stitches, it's still beautiful. And that's how I feel about these mending projects also. So I think you've probably seen enough of my running stitches at this point. So I'm just gonna zoom through the rest of this patch with my running stitches, and I'll see you in a minute. All right, so aside from a little bit of blood that ended up on the shirt, just from me poking myself, I think that's a pretty successful patch. What do you think? I'm gonna go press it on the iron. Before I do that, I'm just going to finish off by securing the thread. I just do a few little whip stitches and I do them through each other. And then on the last whip stitch, I go through my loop, pull it tight, and then go through the next loop. And I feel like that usually is good enough for me. And I'm just gonna put the fabric inside out at this point, and I'm just gonna trim around my patch. I'm not gonna get too close to the edges of the patch because I don't want any fraying to happen, but I am gonna trim it down just so there's not so much bulk fabric in Alex's way when he's wearing the shirt. Over time, this is definitely gonna wear in, which is awesome. I love that about repairs. They end up looking better over time. So I'm gonna press this just so you can see how it's gonna look after it gets washed. And then it's gonna be done so. I'll be right back after I go to the iron. All right, and that's it. Now that it's pressed, you can see how cute it is. This different patch I mended the same way with the blanket stitches around the open edge, but then I used concentric circles, which I just drew on, and I did running stitches. And this patch is well over a year old by now, so it's held up really well. This one's probably gonna hold up even better if I can guess. There's just way more stitches in it. What do you think? Is this not a super fun way to patch your clothes? I think it's my favorite way to patch clothes. I know how to do it in a more subtle way, but I love how unique and how, I don't know, it's whimsical. For those of you who didn't know, it's my life goal to be a whimsical woodland fairy, and I think this is a step in the right direction. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this mending, and I don't know, whatever else you want to see, like I said before. But anyways, friends, that is all that I've got for you on this beautiful Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I hope you have a restful time. Don't forget to wash your hands to protect yourself and everyone around you. Hand washing, everyone, don't forget the whole length of happy birthday. I know we've all heard it a lot, but one more place you're hearing it from. Don't forget to wash your hands. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! And hey, don't forget to go back to that scrappy forest woodland hood video to enter the giveaway. We're doing a giveaway that ends at the end of March. All of the instructions on how to enter are on that video, so check it out. Okay, bye. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, now bye.